Hi guys, Suspension Geek here. I just wanted to go over a couple things real quick. I saw some people asking the difference between a hybrid coilover and a standard coilover, and I think they were calling it a true coilover, and they're both actually true coilovers. And I see a lot of questions about preload. What should my preload be set at? And it's not really that important, and I'll explain that. And then we'll take a look at a new hybrid spring that just came out, and maybe look at a couple other things. So, the difference between a hybrid and a standard spring, or a standard coilover. A hybrid coilover doesn't use a cap on top, much like this. I'll show you exactly. A hybrid coilover uses a spring that's captive at the bottom and uses the frame of the car as the retainer for the top. I like that. It actually adds a nice even distribution load. A lot of guys seem to think they want a true coilover. So a true coilover will be something like this. That you would actually put your coil spring on, put your cap on it, and that would give you your true coilover. And then when we talk about preload, preload is just simply how much pressure you put on the spring to hold it in place. Let's see if I can get that up there. So it doesn't have to have a whole lot of preload. When you first set up your car, I usually just snug it up against the spring, like that. And that's it. A good rule of thumb, you want about 1 inch of compression on the car for the spring rate. So if you're having to crank your spring up 2 or 3 inches to keep the car at a certain ride height, the spring is probably too light. That's one way of looking at it. Another way, if you have too heavy a spring, like the race car guys, there's actually an extra spring called a take-up spring that goes on there. So if you have a heavy rate, usually you'll have a shorter spring on there. Let's go do that. Take this one out. And I'll show you how a take-up spring works. We'll show you that. These are brand new. I'll show you these. Just got these in. It's a spring that goes, an extra lightweight spring goes at the bottom. Takes less than maybe 50 pounds to compress the spring down. Goes at the bottom of the shock. Has a little collar that goes with it. It simply goes together. Put your take-up spring, collar itself. You use your new shorter spring to get your ride height, and this allows you to have your preload, and you can put your collar on. This allows you to use a heavier spring and still get your car down low, and then when the car goes on to weight, it actually collapses that whole take-up spring down. That way it's only using this, but you don't have a loose floppy spring on there. So that's a nice new thing we got. Those will be up on the website. And then I saw guys asking about the new hybrid springs from Viking. So here's the standard springs that you usually get from Viking. These work on Mustang 2 suspensions. They work on the Camaros. Then they came out with a new higher rate spring. But by going to a heavier rate, they had to make it shorter in order for you guys to get the cars down low enough so you can see the difference in height there. So if your car needs to be dropped down but you need a higher rate of spring, you can use that on there, and you can see it's about 2 inches lower than the standard spring. These will also be on the website pretty soon. 750 pounds, 800 pounds, 850 pounds. And then we have all the regular ones up there. So if you got any more questions, just give me a yell. Again, this is Suspension Geek. Thanks guys, bye.